And we are live. This is the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm your host. I'm the Clydesdale. We love to do fitness, and these are my friends. I have my co-host, Amy Radowski, and very special friend, Emma McQuaid, joining us. How are you, Emma?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. I think I can just sit here and listen to your accent for an hour. I love that Irish accent.
You might get sick of it if you can't understand me.
No, it's great. So you are a 4-time CrossFit Games competitor, now going into your fourth. In the year of the rookie, what's it like to feel like a veteran?
Yeah, I suppose I didn't really think of it like that. I kind of still class myself as like fairly new into the game scene, even though I've been there a couple of times. But no, it is. It's really cool, and it's awesome to see like the younger generation coming through, and like I think this is probably the most rookies have went to the games ever. Like it's crazy how many have qualified from Europe alone. I think we've got 4 this year, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think on both sides it's like 20 some rookies.
Yeah, it's insane. It just shows like the depth, the depth in the field and the sport is just growing and growing every year. So, it's awesome all around to see.
And I think COVID like hit everybody for a while because they couldn't go do live competitions and not get that experience under their belt. Now that it's opening up and they're getting a few competitions under their belt, they're starting to do better.
Oh yeah, big time. I think like we all kind of lack that competition experience. Obviously like I was like the rest of the games athletes, we were online for like doing the games online, doing everything online, doing even semifinals last year online. It was crazy, but I just think some people probably took more advantage of that if they were like, I'm flying under the radar here. I'll take a big long off season. I'll work on my weaknesses more in depth, not really focused about competitions. And now whenever they're allowed to compete, now they're just like they're shining through. So I think people probably took advantage of COVID in that way, and not having the competitions, it can also be a good thing.
So your first year at the games was 2019, right?
Yep.
And then then 2020 was online for the games at virtual portion. Okay. So what did you find the experiences different between 2019 and 21?
Oh, like 2019 was the year of all the crazy cuts. So like I honestly didn't enjoy 1 minute of my first games experience. It just felt like you were so stressed out waiting to, am I going to make the first, I think it was like 85 people was like the first cut, and then I was like, okay, I've done that. Now what's the next cut? What's the next number? And you just kind of were like just chasing numbers and chasing the leaderboard, and it just wasn't fun. Where in 2021, I literally just went and I was like, I finished like 32nd in the first workout, swim workout. I was like, oh, that was terrible. And then it was like the second workout was ring muscle ups, and I was like, oh, finish second. And I was like, oh, well, that was cool. It's kind of like a yo-yo first day, but it wasn't like stressful that I'm going to get put out in this first event. It was just like, obviously I tried my hardest. I'm just not a great swimmer. Like, so, but I didn't feel like, oh, well, this is my weekend over if I don't do well in this workout. So, I just kind of enjoyed like taking each workout as it came, and just kind of like I just climbed the leaderboard from day one onwards, kind of thing. It was just more enjoyable, not having to stress. You could just go and compete and have fun and do your best in every workout.
So you say you're not good at swimming, but isn't Ireland kind of like an island?
Yeah, but like it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's also like, I don't know if you can see, but it's also absolutely lashing down outside. So yeah, you try and swim in that. So yeah, we don't like our waters like I got into the lake 2 weeks ago, and the lake was contaminated and I was sick for 2 days. So it's like, because like the warmer, it was slightly warmer, and then we had like loads of rainfall, and then the lake got quite bad. I didn't know, obviously. I went in anyway, so I was sick for 2 days, and then I'm like, oh, this is a great start. So I was going to start sea swimming, because hopefully it'll be a little bit like cleaner than obviously the lakes.
I mean, you never know. I mean, last year maybe that's a good decision because people were getting sick in the lake last year.
I know. Well, I don't know if it's like a clue or they could be throwing us off, but obviously the games posted a video of a swimming pool there, so we're kind of hoping now potentially it's a swimming pool. So I'm just going to throw all my eggs in the basket there and just keep pool swimming, and try and not get sick again and waste days training.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So our co-host Charlie is saying, talk about games prep when you're trying to get the contaminated water out of as part of your games prep.
Yeah.
I really like that aspect of things, but I want to talk about your before CrossFit career, which was quad racing.
Yep.
And is that like four-wheelers, like ATV four-wheelers?
Yeah. ATV four-wheelers. Yeah.
With an open top?
Yeah. It's like motocross bikes. It's the exact same concept, but only it's 4 wheels.
And it's done like on a motocross track with jumps and all that stuff?
Yeah.
How old were you when you started?
6 years old.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I raced from I was 6 until I was 24.
Okay.
And then obviously found CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that life is living out of trailers all the time, right?
No, it's it's just like a normal life. Only just you went and we just drove to the racetracks every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So here in the States, they drive trailers to the racetrack for the weekend and they stay inside them.
Yeah. So yeah, like obviously because like you have such a bigger commute, that's why. But in Ireland, our longest drive is in Northern Ireland. Like our longest drive would be 90 minutes, and then in Southern Ireland our longest drive would be like 3.5 hours. So you just wake up early in the morning, drive to the track and drive home.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, very cool.
So I've seen your CrossFit journal, little documentary piece where it talks about your quad racing and your husband. And did you guys meet doing that together, or were you dating and then started racing together?
No, we met through quad racing. So like I've known David from I think he started racing a lot later than I did. So he probably would have been like 14, 15 when he started. So I would have been, I think we both raced in the same class for 2 years in the youth, and then we moved into the adults together, both at like 16. I think he moved just 1 year before me. He was slightly older, and then we raced together for, I would say maybe like 6 years before we actually got together. So we did. So like I've known him a long time.
Yeah.
And you made it all the way to the Premier Championships.
Yeah, so like it's called like the Premier in Ireland. So like I think I'm one of only 2 females to ever make it into the Premier in Ireland. I'm the only female ever to win an Ulster Championship race, and the only ever female to like obviously win an overall in Ireland as well. And then I've raced in the British Championships, which is in the UK. I've also podiumed at a British Championship, which is pretty cool. And I raced professional over in America. I did one pro race at Loretta Lynn's in Tennessee.
Yeah.
No, I did.
Okay.
So yeah, and I won that as well. So that was pretty cool. I only done like it's my first time ever racing all women, because usually I race guys at home.
So would you share with our listeners about how, I mentioned I've seen the documentary, but for our listeners who may not have heard, could you briefly kind of talk about what happened, and then how you then found CrossFit with that situation?
Yeah. So basically, we just literally got home from the United States from me racing, and then it was literally the week after. So like literally 5 days later, David had his accident. We were both racing at a local track in the Ulster Championship race, and David was actually behind me for probably the first time ever, and I was kind of waiting for him to come alongside me and pass me. And the next thing, the race was stopped. There was just a red flag. I looked behind me. I was like, "Oh no, David's not here." So obviously I didn't think the worst, because like you can have a crash or whatever, break a leg or something, and you're like fine. So I like cut across the circuit, got to David, and he literally just said, "Take Emma away from me," and I was like, "Oh shit, something's wrong if he doesn't want me there." And yeah, literally said there and then to the paramedics he couldn't feel his legs, and then myself, still my best friend now, Mark, myself and him and a couple others, like we walked David down the track in a stretcher, and that was me and him and his family off to the hospital, and we were there for 6 to 8 weeks and a couple operations and stuff. And obviously he was like, that was him then paralyzed, and obviously still no feeling from his waist down. So he's been in a wheelchair from 2012. So David would have been like the Matt Fraser of quad racing, kind of thing in Ireland and the UK. So he was at the top of his game, and everyone was chasing him down. So it was obviously a good person to be with, and we just kind of like helped each other through the whole thing. Then and come out the other side, and we're here now.
So does he participate in any of the adaptive CrossFit
Nope.
classes? Okay.
After his accident, like he trained so hard for his sport, and he put everything into his sport at the time. As soon as he finished, he was like, "I'm done." And he hasn't really trained since, and that's fine. That's just he put everything into his sport at the time, and he can't do his sport anymore, so he's not doing any more training, and that's just him. But he supports me. He's in the gym with me, like every evening after work. He's with me, so he's still in the gym. He's not training, but he's still there, and he still supports me. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We all know that CrossFit is a community that rallies around other athletes. Does that happen in like quad sports?
Like we had quite a lot of support and stuff once David had his crash, but we kind of just shut everyone out because it was a very difficult time for us and the family, and we just kept the family only in the hospital for nearly about 5 weeks. So yeah, it was just difficult circumstances. Like it was life changing, and it doesn't matter how many people want to come and see you for support. I don't really think anyone understands, but you're close knit, and we just kept it family for quite a while. So we did, but like everyone messaged, and we're amazing. It's just we just kept it just to ourselves,
and that's very understandable. Do you ever miss that sport at all now that you've switched over to CrossFit?
Yeah. So like last September, straight after the games, I intended on riding the quad straight away, but I got COVID, so I was actually stuck in the house for a month because I got COVID, and then as I had started testing negative, then David took COVID and he started testing positive. So we ended up, I isolated for my 10 days, and then I re-isolated for his 10 days. So we were like stuck in the house for like over like 3.5 weeks. So as soon as I could get out of the house and I had the energy, I raced the quad again over in Scotland. So we did a 2-day race, and yeah, it was so much fun. But like I never felt so unathletic in my life because I couldn't even hold on to the quad for the entire race. I was so tired, and everyone kept saying, "But you're so fit. Why can't you do this?" And I was like, "It's totally different." So it's just so physical. But yeah, I intend on going straight back onto the quad as soon as the race season's over. I already have my eye on a 2-day race in Southern Ireland in Wexford. So that's the third week in September. So I want to do that. So hopefully I come home, no COVID, and I can get straight back on the quad and get myself like a wee bit more prepared for this next race.
Do you ever just ride around for enjoyment?
No, it's like CrossFit. You're either in or you're out. No, like the quad bikes. It's not like that. It's like motocross. It's if you're out, you're out to ride, and I think if you're riding around for fun, that's usually when you get hurt.
Sure.
It's not really a sport where it's like, oh, I'll just go out for fun. Like you have to train for it. You have to be riding the quad, and I don't like if you haven't been to a quad race, you don't understand like how physical it is. It doesn't matter how fit I am if you haven't been on the quad, you're going to be beat up.
Well, one of the things you mentioned was, and I hadn't thought about it though. I mean, of course, the grip strength but the core strength and the leg strength for just stabilizing and squeezing the quads on the quad. Like that's
like,
I wouldn't thought about that.
The only way I can explain it to someone is like the physical, like you kind of have that physical, like muscular fatigue of the likes of Murph or Cindy, where you're just doing the same constant thing over and over and over again. But then it's the heart and lungs of doing a 20-minute walk test 3 times in one day. Because our races are 20 minutes plus 1 lap. So you're essentially on the quad at max effort for like 22 to 23 minutes. And you do 3 of them in one day. So it's really, really physical.
Yeah.
And I think that's why like I was kind of decent at CrossFit, because I had that kind of capacity and that mental grind for the longer workouts.
Yeah.
So coming into CrossFit, then was it harder for you to sprint, or because you like those longer durations?
Well, my body type is to go fast. So like that's why on the quad, whenever I ride, I need to ride the quad to get like fit for the quad, if that makes sense, because my body isn't the Sam Briggs looking to go for 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. My workload is like 90 seconds, 2 minutes to 3 minutes. So for me, the longer quad, like the longer time on the quad bike was always, I needed to do it to get better at it, if that makes sense. So no, the longer workouts, I just have like the mentality for it. I definitely don't think I have anything like physical. I just have the mentality, but I have like the physical capability of like going like faster and shorter. But obviously my coach has changed that, and now I'm kind of like that middle ground athlete, I think.
So you have the grit. You just need to work on build up the endurance for whatever the activity is. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
When I read somewhere when you first came into CrossFit, if there was something you were bad at or something you needed to learn, you did that every single day. And that's what you would do in quad racing, right? You just had to ride to get better.
Yeah.
But pull-ups not the same?
So like obviously couldn't do pull-ups or toes to bar, handstand, I couldn't do anything. So like straight away I bought myself a skipping rope. I was trying to do double unders every day. We actually still have the pull-up bar in our old work garage, where David made for me to try and learn my pull-ups. So yeah, I'm like, whenever I try to do something, like I just go all in. But then I learned the hard way, because I was like, oh my God, my shoulders hurt so bad. I'm like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't try and do pull-ups every day for like a month.
And with that, you learned about overtraining. And at what point did you seek guidance on how to get better?
So like, I obviously like the gym I initially started out in, like we had a great coach there and stuff, and we actually had like loads of like great like people around us, but I suppose like everything in the sport was just not developed at the time, so everyone was kind of still learning together. So it was like, you want to do pull-ups? Yeah, let's just do pull-ups. You just did pull-ups to learn pull-ups. It wasn't like, oh, we'll build strength and core strength and everything else. And I was like, rowing? Okay, just need to get better at rowing. I'm just going to do rowing intervals. So yeah, and like, it kind of took me until I got shoulder surgery in 2016, when I was like really, really broken and I was in agony. I literally couldn't even tie my hair. Like I was in so much pain. I competed at regionals that year, and I just remember doing the overhead squat. Well, trying to warm up for the overhead squat workout, not even knowing if I could overhead squat the weight when I got out onto the floor. I didn't do the weight in the warm up area, and at that point I was like, why am I doing this? Like, this is pointless. I'm going out onto that floor. I don't even know if I can squat the weight. And like, I remember like Sarah, Sigmund's daughter, there's actually a really cool picture. She was there cheering me on at the end. And like, it didn't matter who was there. I was like, my shoulder will not stabilize this bar kind of thing. And I was like, I never want to feel like this again. Obviously there's going to be workouts where you're going to be last, and that's fine. But whenever you know your body has just completely stopped working, like there's nothing as bad as that. And I just felt so deflated in 2016. Like, I just, like, in training had been a lot better than how I competed, and it was just through my shoulder. I actually got the surgery on the Thursday straight after that regionals in 2016. And then after that, I was like, right, I am not making this mistake again, and just started warming up properly. Started going to a regular physio and just started doing what they said versus getting it and then looking at it and be like, oh, that'll take too long, and not doing it. So I think you have to make mistakes in this sport to get better. And I think through every mistake or setback, you just come back stronger from it.
So when did you reach out to James Jowsey?
So we started working together after regionals in 2017. So we did. I had my surgery first, straight after regionals, and then obviously Sam Briggs, she made the games and did the games, and then she reached out to me, and she was just like, "Oh, I've seen you've had success with your shoulder. I need to get mine done." And she's like, "I can't get in with a surgeon," and I was like, "Well, if you want, I can sort you out with my surgeon." So she flew over to Ireland, and basically we've been trained together, everything ever since. So I then started training a wee bit more with her in that 2016, 2017 off season. And I went to Denmark over to James Jowsey, and Red Pill actually had a seminar. I think it was probably one of the first CrossFit seminars they've done. Both me and Briggs went over, and I just really liked their style, and I was like, do you mind taking on another one? So it's just kind of like, it made sense. Like, if me and Sam were going to start training together, it made sense that we were getting coached by the same coach. And it just kind of happened quite, it just all fell into place quite well.
So I love the fact that you and Sam are training partners. You've seemed to become great friends as well.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, and every time I have met Sam, she's just an amazing person and very easy and very likable and easy to get along with.
Oh yeah, so easygoing, funny, and just, it's kind of like we're both very, very similar. We take our training serious, but we love to have fun in between.
And that's what I love about this sport, is that you can train with and become friends with your competitors, people who are you competing against, but you also, you might want to beat them in a workout, but you also want to see them succeed. And I think that's one of the great things about this sport.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. It's even the last chance qualifiers and stuff. I did the workouts for a couple of athletes, and, shared scores and shared advice and stuff. Because it's I'm like, I want to see you at the games. So if I can help you, I'm going to help you. So it's great. No, it is. And I know other athletes did that as well for people in the last chance qualifier. And I just think that side of the sport is really cool.
Yeah.
The last time I saw Sam, she was not easygoing.
Oh.
I was actually, so she was visiting Columbus, Ohio. I was at my gym where it's owned by Christy O'Connell.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I was doing my open workout. During the middle of that open workout, Sam walks in, and I was not going fast enough for her liking. And she came over and yelled at me.
I think
I was resting.
10-minute workout. That's what it was.
And she's like, you need to get that bar off the ground now.
She's encouraging.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because
it's one of my favorite memories ever. I mean, how many people get coached by Sam Briggs in the middle of an open workout?
Exactly. It's awesome.
Yeah. Coached, yelled at, same thing.
Motivated by.
Exactly.
Yes.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Great time. And afterwards, she was like, I just knew that you could pick up the bar. You didn't need any more rest. And I was encouraging you. And I was like, okay, you're right. I could have.
If that's what you call it.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you guys train together, do you ever do the online portions of events together?
So I actually got Sam to fly in for semifinals last year. So we did the whole semifinals online together. So we did quarterfinals separate because I was like that we just need to make like the top 60. I was like, there's no point us like pushing each other for a stage that's not the stage that we need to push each other for. And I just know like well I could have flew to her, but I just know like my physio and stuff, Linda, is just like amazing. She knows me and she knows Sam inside out. And then obviously like Joyce, our coach, is in the UK, so he's closer to us as well if we needed that. And I've got like my indoor setup, my outdoor setup, and I was just like, look, I think it's best that you come to me because I just have like everything that we need to succeed in the sport. So, and she was like, fuck it, let's go. And booked her flights and off she came. So and like it worked out so well for the two of us last year. Obviously both of us qualifying. So yeah, it was awesome. We actually had a team last year doing the semi-final stage as well online. So so it was really good fun. Me and her went and the team went, me and her went, the team went. So it was a really good weekend. And it was just really enjoyable overall.
Yeah. And now she's done, which we never thought that day would come.
Yeah.
But she's off doing the thing she loves, which is back as a fire person.
Yeah.
And we're hoping that she does well there. Let's talk about your games appearances because you keep getting better year after year after year. And I don't know like if that is because you started so late because quad racing was such a big part of your life. You didn't actually start CrossFit competitively till 24.
24, yeah. Well, I not competitively. I only found it at 24.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So I
And
did.
then it
I
was a
didn't
couple
really.
years.
Yeah, 2016. So like 26.
Okay. But last year at the games, you finished 12th, which is your best finish. You went 20th, 19th, and then 12th. Then I noticed this year.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I noticed this year you finished second in the Open in Europe, second in quarterfinals, second at strength and depth. So
Yeah.
does that mean second at the games?
Like, that would be like the perfect story, wouldn't it? No, I just like I don't know. I don't know how the games will go. Like I know I'm probably fitter than I've ever been. I'm stronger than I've ever been, and I'm healthier than I've ever been. So those three things are good to go together. So it's just now staying healthy right through to the games, and we'll just see how it goes.
What would it mean to finish top 10?
Honestly, like it was a goal last year, and it's remains the goal. It's wrote on my board. I don't know if you've ever seen like every year I write up my like goals, and that goal has stayed the same. It would just be a year of hard work, and it would be the results that I'm just looking for. Like yeah, I just like for me every year it's just a stepping stone. Like if it's 10th place, I'm the happiest person on earth. If it's 9th place, I'm also the happiest person on earth. But just anywhere inside that top 10, I believe I am a top 10 athlete, and I really, really want to start pushing and showing I am.
So Kat said she was so impressed with your pegboard event from 2021.
Oh, thank you. It's because my
And
amazing
then-
husband.
And then those heavy deadlifts looked so easy for her.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't deadlift all year round. Like that's 100% the truth. But I'm just relatively good at deadlifts. I don't know why, because we don't deadlift. And then the pegboard is all down to my husband because he replicated and made me a pegboard the same as the games one. So I have one in my gym. So that makes a big difference.
So coming into this season, you went to Wodapalooza.
Yep.
decide to win that?
I think that was just fluky.
So that's a great off season for you, right? Because you as athletes are trying to earn money. You're trying to support yourselves through this whole thing. And when you can win one of the big 3 off season events, that helps tremendously.
Oh yeah, massively. Yeah, like it just went straight into my gym fund. I'm like, I was building a gym anyway, so it just made the load a lot lighter. So it just meant we were actually able to make the gym slightly bigger, which is pretty cool. So so yeah, that was perfect timing to win that. It wasn't on the cards at all. I think just all the chips aligned at the right time, and we made it happen.
Bruce Wayne says watching her at Wazo was amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So are you, when you're not training, are you being a personal trainer?
Very lightly. So I've had the same group of guys from, I would say, this last 10 years, and I keep training them. So that's just like, it's called just the 545 boys. So they've trained at 545 for, I would say, easily the last 8 to 10 years. Most of them have all been with me. They're all motocross guys, quad racers, and like mountain bike. So yeah, I just train my boys, and that's it. I don't train any CrossFitters, don't do anything like that. So that's the only PTs I take. And then off the bat of the boys, then I have the 5 p.m. girls, which is the girlfriends of the boys. So yeah, so I've got the girls group at 5, and they've got the boys at 5:45.
Emma. There you go. Yep, yeah. You're good. Yeah.
Other than that, that's all I do. I do online coaching, so that's the side I do for CrossFit. And yeah, so not a huge amount of work, but enough that I love it. I love training my boys and my girls, and then I enjoy the online side of coaching CrossFit then.
Yeah.
And you said you're building a gym. Is that a home gym or to be like an affiliate?
No, it's a home gym, but it's probably going to be as big as an affiliate. So I just was sick of like having to. Well, obviously, I have an outdoor gym, but it's in Northern Ireland, so the weather's not always that great. And I'm sick of doing handstand walks and legless rope climbs or rope climbs in the rain. And I said to my husband, I was like, right, we need to build a gym. So we've been like putting in for planning permission for quite a while. So it actually only came through the day I arrived in Texas for Rogue. We actually only got our planning permission. So then it was obviously winter time, so we've only really kind of got started about 4 weeks ago. So yeah, it's not going to be. I think I might affiliate it so I can compete from it, but it's not going to be an affiliate for public.
Mm-hmm.
Still that's training just your little crews.
Just my wee crew, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool that Wodapalooza helped fund that, and that it makes it your dream gym, which is really cool.
Yep. All I wanted was 25 meters for handstand walks. So
you're getting a whole gym out of it.
Yeah. So we were originally at 20 meters, and then whenever I won Wodapalooza, I was like to David, I was like, "Can we go 25 now?" And he was like, "Fine."
Maybe if you get a top 10 finish at the games, you can go 30.
It's the steelworks just put up today, so I don't think
so. That's the remodel in a couple years after a couple top 10s.
I think that'll be a divorce.
Oh, okay. Let's not do that. Let's stay away from that.
I promised this was the last project, so I think we'll go with that. He wants to like put hedges in and like do a bit of gardening after this. So I was like, okay, we'll do that next. Trees and hedges. So yeah.
So strength and depth this year was quite the battle between you and Jacqueline Dahlstrohm.
Yeah.
And looking at the finishes, like event 1, she finished 6th, you finished 7th. Event 2, you finished first, she finished second.
Yeah.
And then 3, you tied for fourth.
Yeah.
And then 4th, she finished 4th, you finished 5th. And then Sunday, she got a little bit ahead of you beyond that.
Yeah.
I know in the press conference with CrossFit, you said the advice you would give to a young athlete is to stay in your own lane, do your own thing, and don't get caught up to the people around you, and that you didn't follow your own advice.
Yeah. It's easy to give advice, but following it's a different story.
Yeah, especially when you're a competitor.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like it was one of those things, like if I had stuck to my plan on the rope climb workout, I think the outcome of the weekend could have been different, but I took a risk. I seen Jacqueline jumped. I jumped as well. I got a no rep. I had to go halfway down. I luckily didn't clamp my legs. So I was on the way down and she called no rep. So I had to start climbing back up and re-tap. Shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those things. It was worth the risk. I finished like 7th in that workout, and it should have been like probably at least a second or third in that workout. I think it cost me like over 10 seconds. It was even more. I think it was nearly 12 seconds by the time I got back up. So yeah, it happens. I don't regret it. I'd rather try now and kind of thing, because on day 3, like it obviously was never given, but things were obviously looking fairly good for that for second or third spot.
So you were a quad racer, where in racing you have to be aware of everybody around you.
Yeah. And
now you're in CrossFit where you want to stay in your own lane. How hard is that to turn off?
I can't. Like I could tell you every single time anyone tripped on the first workout. So I could, like, I remember saying to Joyce, it was like, oh, Jacqueline got onto the double unders 13 reps ahead of me. I closed her in and she tripped. I gained like 6 reps on her. She tripped again. I gained another 4 reps on her. Like, I was literally able to like record every single thing. And he was like, how do you do that in the middle of doing that? And I'm like, Joyce, whenever you're going 50 mile an hour around a quad track with other people around you, I'm like, whenever you're slow-mo in the moment, it's very easy. So like I am quite good at being like quite aware in the CrossFit workouts, because obviously the quad racing, you're going at 40, 50, 60 mile an hour into corners, and there could be a quad in front of you and a quad behind you, and you're like blocking behind but also trying to get in front, so you have to be quite aware all the time.
I hate to do this, Amy.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. My battery's dying on my laptop.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That's okay. You're fine. So here, Kat, our co-host, is commenting. She says, it's like me counting everyone's no reps in class while I'm working out.
Brilliant.
Yeah. That's really funny. So after that event happened and, you got the second place, how did you celebrate that weekend? And then how much time did you take off, like, to kind of recover and recompose?
Yeah, so we actually we were stuck in drugs test until like 9:15. So we actually asked drugs testing the girls that had to stay with us. We were like, would you mind if you came back to our hotel, we got showered and changed, and came back to drugs testing, got tested, and then we went out? She was like, well, technically we're still with you the whole time, so yeah. So me and Sam, with the 2 chaperones, walks back to our hotel. Obviously I go into my room, she goes into her room. The chaperone's there, we got showered, we've got changed.
Yeah.
We heads back to drugs testing. So we were in like our jeans and our tops and stuff, all ready to go out. So as soon as we got tested, it was like, boom, off we go.
Right.
So it was quite funny, like, because we came back into the room and we were like all changed, and everyone was like, what did you do? And we were like, we asked them just to go, could we? And then it was Sol, she was like, can you come back to my hotel? So then the chaperone had to go back to her hotel. So we kind of started a trend. but yeah, basically all like my crew, there was about 25 of us. We all went to the hotel my husband was staying at. We all got food. We had a couple of drinks, and we just had good chat the whole night. Yeah, it was just nice. We were the only peoples in the whole bar. We just reserved the whole back area, and it was just like all the people you wanted to be with, and no one else. And it was really nice.
Yeah. And then how long did you take off to let your body recover before you started back at your games training?
Yeah, so I just took like that whole week and just kind of like chilled out. I remember I did like a little bit of moving. I did some C2 bike and core on the Tuesday. I did a little bit of rowing and running and some movement stuff on the Wednesday, Thursday. We did like a class WOD on the Friday. I did class WOD on Saturday, rested Sunday, and then off we were. So it was only like 45 minutes a day for that week. I just know like if I don't move, I get really stiff and sore. So I just tried to move a little bit, but did like zero weightlifting and zero gymnastics, just like conditioning and body, like just lunges and stuff, just good for your shoulders health and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So what does the next month look like getting ready for the games?
Well, my coach has officially moved in with me, so I would imagine it's going to be
oops, you're on mute again.
Oh,
there you go. Okay.
I don't know how much you got of that, but yeah, my coach has moved in with me, so I'd assume he's going to absolutely kick my ass for the next month.
What do you do for nutrition? Like, do you have a nutrition coach, or is your coach also just kind of part of your nutrition, or are you just like, I just go based on how I feel?
Yes, it's probably the wrong answer, but it's the right one for me. I get my meals freshly delivered twice a week, so it's a local like company, just fresh food, just fresh meat, fresh veg, fresh like either potatoes, rice, or like noodles, some kind of carb source. There's no rubbish in it. I just eat good, honest, clean food, and yeah. As like the best thing my coach ever said to me was, eat when you're hungry and don't eat when you're not. And it's kind of worked for this last 4 years. I feel good. I feel the best I've ever felt. I feel tracking macros adds more stress to my day, which I'd rather just put that energy into training than tracking food. So I just think we're in this sport long enough to realize what your body needs and what it doesn't need. I enjoy cheat meals at the weekend. I'm not going to deprive myself of living a kind of normal life. Me and my husband go on date night at least once a week. Again, not be crazy. I'll just have like maybe like a steak or like salmon, some like veg. Just it's nice to go out and just have like a wee bit of normality. I don't eat a lot of sugar in my diet. The main sugar source is like obviously just like honey, fruit, like we've like these little like fruit bars, sort of like natural sugars. I don't really take a lot of dairy in my diet just because my stomach doesn't like it. But I'm not like full dairy free. I just don't have a lot of it. And outside of that, like I eat everything and anything.
So when are you getting to the States?
So I fly out to Sam on the 21st of July. So I think I fly on Thursday. So that's like typically like my rest day. So the way the flight is, I'm literally only have to get up like 2 hours earlier than normal. I'll do my cardio, head straight to the airport, onto the flight, and then I land with Sam around 9 p.m. So straight to bed and back into training on the Friday morning. So no missed hours training. So that's kind of, it actually worked out quite well this year, time-wise.
That's great. So I also want to point out, you were the first Irish woman to qualify for the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
So you said you were the first woman in the premiere to podium and to win and do all that. And now you're the first Irish woman to qualify for the Games. How much does that mean to you?
Oh, like I think it's so good. Like we have like a young teenager coming through. She finished second at the Games last year in the 14s, Lucy. And I just think it's like it's so nice to have an Irish athlete like setting like the pathway. Obviously because I know she's coming in hot. Like, and whenever she ages up, I'm retiring because she's gonna kick my ass. like I just like I always had like Sam Briggs as a role model because she was the closest to me in terms of she lives in the UK. She's done it. Like I'm freaking doing this. If someone from the UK can, so can I. Where I think like you always like look at America and you're like, oh my god, like but they're just so good at everything. Where whenever someone from like home makes it, you're like, I can do that too. And it just gives you so much like energy and like encouragement. It's like, well, if she can do it, so can I. So I just love like there's so many young people coming through in the sport, and I just hope like if I can help inspire them. Like I was shite when I started, so it's like I wasn't good. So like I just think it's through hard work I've got where I am. So obviously like a little bit of talent in there, but it's mainly hard work. I wouldn't class myself as a skillful athlete in any way.
So what do you look forward to the most at the games? Because it's such a different test than everything else. You know, they have the odd objects, the strongman, the swimming, the outdoorness of it. What is your favorite aspect of going to the games?
Like last year I loved the pig workout because like that's just fun. I love doing like the hay bale workout into the yoke again, like that's just like fun. I'm like, how is this even like fitness? It's like it's enjoyable. So yeah, like I love just like the odd things. And I think I'm good at the odd things because of just my sport. It's like, yeah, just get from A to B and try and do it as quickly as possible kind of thing. So yeah, I just love like the not so much gym stuff because you get to do that all year round. So getting to do the outdoor stuff is fun.
You mentioned when Lucy gets to age up, you're retiring. How are you going to cope without competitiveness?
I think I'll be fine. Like I'm very excited to either become a mom or continue to coaching, whatever life throws at me. Like if I can become a mother, I would think I'd love that. I love kids. And if for some reason that can't happen, then I definitely think I'll throw all my energy into coaching athletes and try and bring as many athletes to the CrossFit Games and as I can.
That's great. I look at you and you're like your whole life since 6, it's been about competition.
Yeah.
And you're really good at it. And you beat a lot of people. So yeah, I just was wondering where that goes. Cause I never made it to the levels you did, but I have really hard time not being competitive.
Yeah. But I'd be like probably the worst competitive mom there would be. So it's like bring on sports day. My sister doesn't even tell me when sports day is now for my niece and nephew because she was like, no, you're too competitive. They're not competitive. And I'm like, they should be.
So do you and your husband ever play like board games or cards or things like that at home?
No, I don't know. We're not really into that at all. But thankfully from David had his crash, we aren't competitive with each other anymore. So that's kind of good because I never won against him, so I wouldn't expect I would win anything now. So we played mini golf a couple of weeks ago, and he was beating me until like the last like 5 holes, and I was like, right, I need to get my shit together. I was like,
you got to start training your mini golf.
So yeah, it was funny.
Yeah. The funniest thing is when my daughter was really young, and I'm super competitive so she was playing soccer. My wife had to sit down with me like, listen, she's out there. You need to like stay calm, not yell and scream. Just let her do her thing. And she was playing goalie, and she covered up the ball, and a girl kicked her. And my wife ran out on the field screaming and yelling that someone kicked her baby. And I'm like, hey, I thought I was the one that was supposed to like calm down, but no, it was my wife that ended up running out onto the field.
Yeah, I think like David would be like holding me back by like a rope. I'd be like held back. He'd be like, Emma, don't.
Well, yeah. One thing we always talk about on here, because all of the co-hosts on here are parents, and we all talk about how we get more anxious watching our own kids compete than when we compete ourselves. So there's something about just, even though the outcome doesn't matter, it's because we're competitive, and then watching somebody you love compete it's so anxious producing.
Yeah, like my mom can't watch me compete. Like I don't think she's ever watched a full quad race in 20 odd years that I raced. I don't think she could ever watch a race. So she'll just see me going over the line, and she'll be like, "Oh, well done, well done."
Yeah.
And my dad's the same. My mom and dad will end up in like the other side of the field, like while I'm racing, and they would just be like, "Is she okay?" And then someone would just say, "She's fine."
Yeah.
They could never really watch me.
Oh.
So like, and David's the same. David can't watch me on the quad, but he can watch me doing CrossFit.
Yeah.
So he can. Again, it's just like that. So much safer as well.
Sure.
So it is. So yeah, it's funny how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Emma, this has been a blast. We're coming up on the hour, so I want to let you have your day back. But I want to thank you so much for jumping on with us. This has been so much fun.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And we will be in Madison.
Awesome.
So we will see you there.
Definitely, yeah.